Today, video games contain very few secret characters. Most of them are discovered within days, if not hours of a game's release, and get shared so quickly and widely across social media, you rarely get a chance to find them on your own. Go back a few years though, and there are plenty popular games with hidden characters that can only be found via hidden knowledge. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 hidden playable video game characters you totally missed. Number 10. Grey Fox, Metal Gear Solid Special Missions. Did anyone other than me actually do the VR training in the original Metal Gear Solid? These were a series of virtual reality tutorials that looked awesome, but that was about it. It's not a big surprise then that expansion Metal Gear Solid Special Missions, also known as VR missions, didn't make much of a blip on anyone's radar. After all, it didn't continue the Metal Gear Solid story, it just added more of those bespoke VR levels. Unfortunately, anyone who skipped out on this re-release feeling package missed out on a playable version of Grey Fox, the franchise's original cyborg ninja. You had to complete the bulk of the game as Snake to unlock ninja mode, but once you did, you were treated to a whole new way to play Metal Gear Solid. Running like the wind, turning invisible, flipping over an enemy's head and taking them down with one lightning fast slash to the back. Where the hell is my Metal Gear Fox game? Number 9. Green Goblin, Spider-Man the Movie, 2002. Treyarch's Spider-Man in 2002 was one of the first good games to be licensed from a movie, and the first Spider-Man game to really do the wall crawler justice. For one, it was the first Spidey game to introduce physics-based web slinging in an open world, at least in certain levels, which became the basis for just about every Spider-Man game since. It also included one of the most fleshed out hidden characters that no one found. By finishing the game on the hardest difficulty, a controller-smashingly frustrating task, or entering a convoluted series of cheat codes, you could unlock Green Goblin mode. Coming with his own unique playstyle and story, Gobby picks up after the events of the movie, casting you as Harry Osborn using his villainous father Norman Osborn's iconic armor and gadgets. Utilizing the Goblin's glider and unique arsenal of bombs, guns, and blades, you could zip around the city in a mode that's never been replicated in a Spider-Man game. Number 8. Guy Savage, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. There's no shortage of creator Hideo Kojima's signature Kojima-ness in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, but it was still a shock to some players when they loaded up their save and were suddenly playing a completely different game. If you unlocked this sequence at the time, then you probably had no idea what the hell was happening. You just turned off Metal Gear Solid 3 for the night, and now you were hacking away at zombies with hook swords for arms as a dude called Guy Savage. Turns out at a specific break in the story, after being captured and tossed in a cell, the game will prompt you to save. Only by quitting and reloading that save will you unlock the segment informally known as Snake's Nightmare. Apparently this came from an in-progress tech demo that Kojima liked the look of, but eventually the segment will come to an abrupt end. Snake will wake up in his cell and complain to his friends over radio that all their talk about Dracula the day before has given him nightmares. Number 7. SUIKODEN Protagonist, SUIKODEN 2. As if the SUIKODEN series' infamous 108 recruitable characters weren't enough, SUIKODEN 2 boasts several secret characters too. However, the most secret is without a doubt the protagonist from the first game in the series, McDowell. By loading a completed SUIKODEN save at the start of the sequel, you can encounter McDowell later in the game. The two of you will temporarily join forces to rescue a local boy who's been kidnapped by bandits. After taking him to be healed in a nearby city, McDowell leaves the party, returning to his own house. If you talk to him again though, he will agree to rejoin you temporarily. Be warned though, this basically breaks the game. Not only does McDowell have the endgame level and gear you completed SUIKODEN with, but he also comes equipped with the extremely powerful Soul Eater rune, able to be used with your hero for some insanely devastating attacks. God mode very much unlocked. Number 6. Doom Guy, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I'm willing to bet that not many people played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on the PC. These were the days before controllers for PC games became mainstream, and Tony Hawk's on a keyboard was not a nice experience. By Pro Skater 3, fans knew to expect the unexpected when it came to the series' awesome cast of unlockable characters, from original creations like Officer Dick and Private Carrera to familiar faces like Spider-Man and Darth Maul. However, by far the most obscure of these was Doom Guy. Only available in the PC version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, Doom Guy was actually easy to unlock by entering the cheat code IDKFA, which should be familiar to players of Doom and Doom 2 as the code that unlocks all weapons. To this day, people are still surprised to learn Doom Guy was in Tony Hawk's at all. Number 5. Crystals and the Crystal Cruiser, F.T.L. Faster Than Light. For a brief moment after its release, Subset Games' F.T.L. was the hot ticket item for indie games. A combination of management sim and roguelike, F.T.L. is all about racing against time while surviving numerous random encounters. The game features a number of unlockable ships, but the Crystal Ship and its Crystal Crewmen are by far the most well hidden. Even the chance to unlock both relies on making the correct choice in 2 separate random events. First, you have to be lucky enough to stumble upon the Crystal Cruiser, inside of which you'll find a stasis pod. Next, you need to, once again randomly, find the Zoltan research facility. Only they can safely open the stasis pod, which contains, you guessed it, a crystal, a friendly version of the normally hostile Rockmen aliens. He will then guide you to the hidden crystal world. It's a place on the map only accessible through him, where he will then point you towards the remains of the Crystal Cruiser. You won't actually be able to use it or recruit Crystal crew members until your next playthrough, but being F.T.L, that probably won't be very long. Number 4, GOGO, Final Fantasy VI. I sound like the oldest man in the universe, but back in the 90s, one of the things that made Final Fantasy VI so unique was the fact that you could stumble onto new party members you didn't know existed. By far the most unlikely one you'd find without a walkthrough was the mimic GOGO. For starters, you have to go to Triangle Island, an unassuming island of no significance in the world of Ruin. Once there, you need to walk around until you get into a random encounter with a Zone Eater, a giant worm that can instantly KO party members by eating them one by one. Then you have to not run from what seems like an imminent game over, and when all 4 members of your party have been devoured, you'll be transported to the Zone Eater's belly. Here you'll find GOGO the Mimic just hanging out. GOGO is one of the most powerful party members in the game, given his ability to mimic other party members' unique abilities. This means using Edgar's overpowered chainsaw twice in a single turn every single turn until you beat the game. Number 3, Mew, Pokemon Red and Blue. As Pokemon found its footing across those first few generations, you really didn't know which Pokemon specifically you were missing out on until you physically started talking to other players. As both Red and Blue players amassed that first 150 together though, word began to spread of a secret 151st Pokemon. Whilst playgrounds filled with word of the missing no glitch, Mew was bandied about but never found. Turns out they weren't supposed to be. Mew was intended as an exclusive gift to people who attended various official Nintendo events. You could unlock Mew using a glitch, but the process was so precise, requiring step-by-step instructions and very tight timing. Anything less and your copy of Red or Blue was capped at 150 Pokemon. Number 2, LYNN, Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles features a huge cast of characters to recruit for your squad of underdogs, and rightfully so, as they can die permanently. Also, they come with their own stats and hidden skills, with some being way better than others. So with all this in mind, why would anyone use Carl, a middling engineer who has a tendency to not evade enemy attacks? He practically makes the game one giant escort mission. Well, LYNN is why. Married to Carl, LYNN is one of the best shock troopers in the game, but to unlock her you have to use Carl a lot to unlock his hidden potential. Called Headlit Deer, this grants him the ability to freeze when shot at. Now just let Carl get KO'd, and upon winning the battle, LYNN will join your squad to keep her husband safe. And number 1, AKUMA, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. A Street Fighter stalwart now, even crossing over to Tekken 7, AKUMA wasn't given a name until Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dreams, but was hiding out in the background of Street Fighter 2's third and final release, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. An evil counterpart to Ryu and Ken, you'll most likely first encounter AKUMA as a secret boss. That's assuming you're unbelievably good at the game, as fighting him requires you to win every match without blocking even once, and finish with the highest score. At that point, AKUMA will enter the arena, smoke usual boss M. Bison, and then probably smoke you too, because he's old school dumb levels of really hard. Fortunately, you don't need to fight AKUMA to unlock his much weaker playable version. All you have to do is go to the character select screen and highlight each of the following characters for 3 seconds. In order, that's Ryu, T-Hawk, Guile, Kami, and Ryu. Then hit start and all 3 punch buttons simultaneously. All of this will make AKUMA yours, because yes, some people spend a lot of time in an arcade figuring all this out. And those are our picks for hidden playable video game characters you totally missed. Let me know your favourites down in the comments below, and please subscribe to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you soon.